All right. So, welcome everyone to this new venture called Heal with Heera, where I will be introducing a new guest almost every week and sharing with you some of my experiences, my experiments, and my educational background from different fields. Some of you know me as a chef in a sari, plant-based chef. Some of you know me as a musician. Some others know me as a retired elementary school teacher. So in these unprecedented times, this is a very good way for us to connect. Um, you can call it quarantine connections. You can call it guftgu, which is an Urdu language, or just meeting soul to soul, meeting of souls. So I'll be bringing you a new guest every week, as I said. Today I have a very, very special guest with us, and her name is Deepti Sharan Shukla. I'm going to say a few things about her. I have known her for the last 3 to 4 years, and she's one of the very rare Indian families who is completely plant-based. So Deepti has been a vegan ambassador since 2010. To help increase awareness around veganism, she has been working with several organizations such as Northwest Animal Rights Network, Anonymous for the Voiceless, Direct Action Everywhere. She has also conducted several educational demos and hosted plant-based cooking sessions also. On the professional side, she is very well qualified. She has a B.Tech in computer science and a certificate in entrepreneurial management. And she met her husband, who is a very famous Hindi poet, Abhinav Shukla, while working at Infosys. And they have been in the United States since 2005. She lives in Folsom, California, with her 3 beautiful young kids. I was very inspired to
That
interview
was
today because, as I said earlier, she's raising a family on a plant-based lifestyle. She also is going to share her stories of her vegan pregnancy with her youngest child, who is almost 2 years old now,
mhm.
and her home birth. She'll tell you a little bit about that. She has also started a Facebook page called Deep Holistics. I hope you check it out and find more resources about this lifestyle. She also works as a volunteer at many different organizations. Welcome, Deepti, to Heal with Heera, first episode. We are very fortunate to have you today.
Namaste and hello, viewers and Hiraji. I am so privileged. I'm feeling so privileged to be your first interviewee on this very beautiful show at a time which is so appropriately right. So many of us are experimenting with food these days. We are trying new cuisines at home. What better time to start this show so that we can all venture onto this new healthy way of eating. I am very glad to be invited here.
Welcome again. I am going to ask you a few questions so that our viewers can find out more about what you do. So let's find out first what made you decide to give up dairy and animal products such as eggs and things like that, because I know you are originally from India just like myself, and many Indians do not eat any meat. They are vegetarians, but they do consume dairy and sometimes they consume eggs, a lot of dairy products and so on. So tell us a little bit about your background on in this way of life.
It's very interesting, Hiraji. In fact, even before I was a vegetarian, I was born into a meat-eating family. Uh, and I was born in UK when my daddy was working as a surgeon over there. And because of the education he had received, meat-based protein was considered a supreme form of protein. Miseducation, I would like to correct it. And one of my favorite places was McDonald's in UK. And UK being surrounded by water, McDonald's was mainly selling fish and chips, and that was my favorite food at age 7. Um, and we used to have all kinds of meat in parties at home, in social gatherings, pork, chicken, different forms. When we moved to, my daddy decided to move back to India, and then my mom, she got influenced. She started getting influenced by society and family more, and she kindly, gradually tried to take me down to the vegetarian path. But chicken was so tasty at that time. It didn't. I could not fathom how could anybody live without it. Interestingly, I met my cousin in 2001, and Piyush Bhaiya, my brother, my elder cousin, he was doing his PhD and he was visiting India for a little while when I met him. And he explained me that even though he was in US for quite a while, so before that, the notion between Indians was, oh, if you go abroad, you're not going to. It was a guaranteed kind of a thing that you're going to consume meat in various forms. So when he came back, I was in my 20s, early 20s, and he explained he had not had meat, and I was quite surprised. When I asked him further, and this is the youngest one. Say hello. Say hello. Hi.
Hello.
I don't know why you're wearing so many layers today.
Hello, Ishan. Ishan is 2 years old, almost two.
Almost 2, yeah. Hi. So when I met he explained that the way that the chickens are kept and in the conditions in which they are raised, it's very inhumane. They don't get proper sunlight, nutrition. They're not giving us the kind of protein, the high quality protein that's been advertised by the media and by these companies. He explained that he tried to put me in that situation, in a mental situation where I knew I was going to die and I could see death in front of me. And he said, well, the kind of imagine the kind of hormones that would get released in your body, and then you don't even have a time to get those toxins flushed out of your body, and you're dead, and then somebody else is going to consume you. And that kind of threw me off. The other interesting thing he mentioned was about that for every kg, or say every pound of food that we consume as a human, 7 pounds of meat has to be grown to produce that 1 pound of food on our plate. And so if everybody on the earth turned non-vegetarian or meat eating, there would be no way we could meet everybody's food intakes, food needs. So there were some few more points he talked about, and one that really stuck with me was the anatomy, the similarity of anatomy that we and other herbivorous animals have, and we'll talk more about that. But then coming back to your point of was I a vegetarian? So at that point, I turned vegetarian overnight, and that stayed for another decade. Then I started. Athar was born. My first one was born. He was 2, and I was pregnant with my second one. And I stumbled upon an article of a vegan diet, and I was like, there are new diets in the market all the time. There's the Dukan diet, the Zone diet, the Atkins diet, South Beach diet, Paleo. Okay. So this must be another, whatever diet. It'll come and go. But I read about it for a year, and I read independent authors and independent people from the public were writing articles, and they were talking about stuff about how they felt better, how their diabetics medicines went down by 50%, how somebody got rid of their BP medications, how somebody's uh, eyesight improved. It was shocking. And then everything that went on behind the bars that nobody else saw, of how the cows were treated. It was a shocker. And I read a lot of people had gone when they made that comparison of their cow and not eating the cow, consuming the cow's milk, but not eating their pets, not eating their dogs, not eating their cats. You know, when people made that comparison, people went vegan like overnight, and they stayed like that. I know people who've gone vegan overnight and stayed like that for a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades. I know people who are vegan since 3 generations, healthy people. So um, it was a turning point in my life, and for me it took me a year to go from vegetarian to vegan. I chose the low hanging fruits first. I chose the paneer and the khoya, which were the easy items to skip. I chose them first, and I chose the chai in between. It took me 2-3 iterations because how addicted I was to chai, the Indian tea. So I have a whole blog written on how I left my tea, quit my tea. Um, I don't recommend everybody has to do it, but it's, you know, I just felt like I was a free new person. Like somebody had put me in shackles. And then when I left tea, those shackles, I had broken those shackles and I was a free person now. It really felt so good that I, I can go on and on for an hour just about how good it made me feel. So and then I left I started experiment. You know, it took me a while to figure out how to make kadhi. Kadhi is a very healthy and nutritious Indian dish. It's made of gram flour and yogurt. And so the best thing about, you know, switching from a plant-based diet to a switching from a dairy-based, animal-based diet to a plant-based diet is that you don't stick to just one dairy product. You don't just stick to the milk. Now you have like a dozen kinds of milk. You have the hemp milk, you have the almond milk, you have the coconut milk, you have the rice milk, and oh my God, you have such a broad spectrum to experiment with. And it's so rewarding, and every kind of milk has its own texture, own flavor. And so the experiment took me a while. I didn't enroll myself in a paid program or anything. So just to say, you don't have to do that. If I can do it, if someone like me can do it, anybody can do it. Anybody can become vegan like that. So it took me a while, and I realized
It's right now it's not very difficult at all, because as when you go to the shelves, dairy shelves, you see tons and tons of different types of milk that are plant based. And I can relate to your addiction to tea, because most Indians drink tea. I myself started drinking tea when I was in my early teens, because I had to study for the exams and I had to do all nighters, studying. um, so you know it's hard for that's the most difficult thing for people from of Indian origin to give up tea.
right, it is. But believe me, once you give up, it's like heaven.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it shackles you, as you said, and when you give it up, it's so freeing. But there are many other creamers available that people can use also in their tea, which are pretty good. Uh,
Definitely.
Good to
There's a,
make your tea and coffee.
yeah, there's a
Soy
coconut creamer.
creamers, almond milk creamers, and things like that.
So those who want
Hear
to practice
your
and
story, your story to veganism, how you turned to this lifestyle. It's very difficult when you are rooted in dairy. Um, I know that you have young children and you're raising your young children on this plant-based foods. So is it difficult? Have you found any difficulties in doing so?
the most difficult part, and I'll say there are two. The most difficult part is in your head. Okay. And so once you've crossed that hurdle, it's not difficult at all. But the second difficult part is when you see the disappointment in the eyes of your elders, your in-laws, your parents. And that is something that like tears my heart into pieces. Like, it's like, oh, I've read it, I've done my research, I know what I'm doing for my kids is the best.
Right.
That, that is the hardest part for me, when you kind of see that disappointment in the heart, in the eyes of your loved ones. So otherwise, no, once you've decided, this is the path to go, you just have to do a little bit of planning and learning. And of course, your old methods, the things that you learned from your mom, the way of cooking that you were used to so far, you have to kind of break it down into, so I cannot so probably a combination of almond milk and cashew milk will taste better in the tea, or probably oat milk tastes even better in tea. Or, oh, I'm going to make a raita, a common Indian dish, and the best raita that I ever had, homemade raita, was at your place, Hiraji, the first time, the cashew raita. So
Good.
you experiment with different things. You're going to make curry, it's going to be from peanut curd. Okay, you're going to make raita, it's going to be from cashew curd. So there's a bit of learning over there, and it's fun and interesting. And sometimes you experiment and you fail, and sometimes you experiment and everybody loves the food and it gives you so much joy. And if you don't want to experiment at all, there are so many products in the market that you don't have to. You just have to go and buy and enjoy your life as you used to. There's butter, there's cheese, there are 10 varieties of cheese, 10 varieties of butters, everything. US is a market driven economy, and every new product that comes out in 10 different flavors. There are 10 different brands out there, so there's no dearth of
That's
variety.
right. And you can also see very easily that, if you have any chronic conditions or any health issues, they just drop off as soon as you switch to this plant-based lifestyle. It might take a few months, or 1 year if you are not so diligent about it, but it can be done. Chronic conditions go away and you become very, very healthy. In fact, as the coronavirus pandemic is happening and surrounding all of us, not very many people are talking about the foods that we are consuming, the plant-based foods that are so healthful and full of nutrients, full of vitamins, full of immune boosting ingredients. People are, of course, talking mostly about, you need to wash your hands and how to save yourself from the onslaught of the virus particles. But how to become stronger from your core, no one is discussing that. They are not saying that you need to change your diet. But anyway, let's move on. That's very good information you shared.
And
Uh,
you touched on some very important topics. And I was reading Bloomberg on May 15th, published an article, and this is especially for people who are into meat, that during the coronavirus lockdown, the increase in plant-based meat has gone by 264%. So just if for our viewers, Google that article, plant-based meat, coronavirus spurs 265%. So definitely people, there are people who are realizing that plant-based meals is the way to go. And we've had the SARS and the MERS and the coronavirus, and everything is starting from animals. So we understand that probably the animal-based diet is not the best diet for us. And you talked about health. I would like to share a little bit about my story. I was in my teens when thyroid hit me, and my antibodies were totally messed up. It was called an autoimmune condition, which I came to know after many years of having my thyroid medication. And after this diet, after my vegan diet, I am, by God's grace, I am totally free of Hashimoto's. Um, this is, I cannot tell you how. I have actually shocked two of my naturopaths, one in Folsom, one in Sacramento. I've put them to shock. One said, well, you're a good case study. The other one, when she read my report, she literally jumped out of her chair and said, oh no, we need to monitor it much better. I'm like, yeah, you can do whatever monitoring you have, but these are my results. So I'm free of thyroiditis.
Yeah, these can be miraculous, foods. Definitely, they can help you get rid of your conditions. That's wonderful story that you shared there. Very good. So I wanted to find out, since you have children from 2 years to I think 11 or 12 years of age, you have three children.
Well,
How do you make sure that they get their calcium and protein and other vitamins? And actually, I was talking to a young mom just a few weeks ago, and I was sharing with her, that after weaning, a child does not need weaning from the breast milk. A child does not need cow's milk because it's so hard to digest, and it's a different species, and we don't have actually the hormones to digest that. Many people have problems, and as adults we don't need to drink any milks, and even as after 1 year of age, milk is not needed. But she was not convinced. So could you share with our viewers, how do you make sure that they are getting enough calcium, enough protein, enough vitamins, iron, and so on and so forth, that everyone always wonders about?
that's that's the most common question that I get from my friends, and I always want to ask them, did you see the elephant? Where did it get its calcium from? Did you get see the bison? These are one of the most magnificent, powerful, and strong animals living and breathing on earth today. And is any single one of them having a milk source other than from their mom? Or did any single one of them have continue to have milk after they weaned off from their mom? Neither of them. So the calcium needs, unless somebody is on a junk diet, potato chips all day, our fruits, our vegetables, nuts, seeds, and our flowers, and a good combination of them made at home, preferably if possible, they are enough to satisfy all our nutrition. In fact, bok choy has 3 times more calcium than milk. Almond twice as calcium than milk. Um, all these fruits, they are highly rich in minerals, zinc, potassium. Some of these that you mentioned, iron. Spinach is super high in iron. In fact, talking about calcium, I want to bring these stats out to you, which are not there in the mainstream media. The highest amounts of the highest reported cases of osteoporosis are in those countries which are the highest dairy consuming countries in the world, which are the Netherlands. The second highest being US, and this is, you can pull anybody. These stats are available on widely available on the net. So highest country of reported cases with osteoporosis, US, and then the second highest country of dairy consuming countries, US. So there's a direct correlation, and there's a scientific reason for that. And the reason is that today's milk is so acidic in nature. The way the cows are being raised, the way they are being fed, the way they are being treated with hormones and pesticides, the way they are being kept in small cages throughout their lives. They're standing in their own dung and forced to have 70% of the antibiotics that are being produced in the US are for the farm animals, not for humans. They're for the farm animals, because not that because the animals are sick, it's a precautionary measure, because they're sitting in their dung the entire day. They don't get to see the sunlight. The cages for the chickens, they're sitting cages are one on top of each other. The one that is at the bottom is actually eating the poop and pee of all the chickens above it. So in those conditions, you don't have any other option but to give them antibiotics to keep them going, keep them growing. um and so when it comes to nutrition, it's a very funny question. Nobody asks nutrition these questions. If I feed my kid a McDonald, a McD, or I keep feeding them, chips or processed food, nobody asks that question. Nobody. But suddenly when I go to a plant-based diet, suddenly everybody's like, what about nutrition? What about nutrition? Like, as if,
You were going to share some things that you have there at your desk,
oh,
something
right. I thought I should rather bring some stuff.
for viewers if someone is interested in how. to switch to plant-based uh,
Absolutely. If you are, I thought this would be a good idea. So if you are switching to a plant-based diet and you think you're going to miss on food items, this is probably the biggest myth. This is one of my favorite ice cream brands. It's Coconut Bliss, and I think it's organic. This one is organic. Oh my God, the kids and everybody at our family loves it. We can have this whole thing in a single sitting. Um, then there's cheese, and we make cheese dosas, like cheese crepes out of these. We put them in our pasta. And these come in three. The daya. And did you know what's the ya? It comes from the Sanskrit word daya, which means kindness.
yes.
So right, so it's a combination of dairy and daya. So I love this brand, and very, you can spread them. They are so similar to the regular cheese, dairy based cheese that you're used to. I have a couple of butters. They're in the fridge. I'll bring them. I'll have my kids bring one of them. But this is one that we just a stick based butter.
Okay.
Yeah, it comes, 4 sticks are in there, and very easy to spread on bread or paratha. Paratha is a flat bread, Indian flat bread. So, and then, veganism is not restricted to just, so plant-based diet means, what your diet is plant-based, but veganism is at a bigger capsule, and it encompasses your entire lifestyle. So, it means that you're not consuming anything from animals. You're not consuming, you're not wearing them on your skin. You're not using them as cosmetics. You're not using them as purses. You're not using fur to keep you warm. You're not using down feathers to sleep on them in pillows. So I thought I'll bring a couple of cosmetics that I use, though I don't use them very frequently. I don't use cosmetics very frequently, but I thought I'll show some of these products. Like, you see this sign that says cruelty free.
Mhm.
Yeah, so this is my conceal pack. And this is, so what happens is, how our shampoos and these cosmetics and stuff like this, monkeys and rabbits, especially these two creatures, their eyes are kept open with a set of pliers for like 2 or 3 days at a stretch. And these concealers and these eyeshadows and the shampoos, and they are tested on, they're sprayed on their eyes, and
Mhm.
they are tested for results. And eyes are supposed to be blinking every minute, so we can imagine what these animals go through. So whenever you see this sign that says cruelty free, that means these products have not been tested on the animals. And this is Profusion. And then
Profusion.
one of my favorite brands is Zuzu. I think yeah, there it is. Zuzu is Zuzu is one of my really favorite brands. It started in somewhere in Washington, and that's where I came from.
Okay.
And then this is which brand is this? Okay, Gabriel. Yeah, and this is the one that I'm wearing right now, and you can see, you know,
It looks
this is
beautiful.
thank you. And they come in like huge selections of lips. I probably carry maybe just 2 or 3 of them, but people have like they come in all kinds of sizes and shapes and shades and whatnot. So there's a huge selection, huge variety out there for people who are looking for it and who want to make that transition.
So it's not that difficult, right? Actually, I one of my kind of mentors, she probably doesn't know me, Chef AJ. She calls this lifestyle plant exclusive. Plant exclusive. That means it's not just what you are eating or consuming internally. You are also thinking about ways to live cruelty-free life. Yeah.
That's a beautiful word, plant exclusive. I'm going to take that, use that.
Beautiful. I like it too. Uh, did you make something special today? Or, I mean, I know you make everything special. I've tasted your food. What did you make today for lunch?
Today I made, we had tahari, and it's in the kitchen.
Okay.
And I'm in the office right now, the home office.
All right.
So
We're going to
I'll have
meet
the,
children also, so this will be a good time for us to meet your kids.
okay, right, let me call them. Um, Yeah, they're at the other end of the home. So, there are other things where in the meantime when they're coming, you know, there are all kinds of people who want to use a non-leather belt, non-leather purses. There are brands like Row and Co, Corker, Veganie, Pixie Mood, and these brands are catering to all kinds of different needs and uh, audiences, and producing a multitude of a variety of stuff for both men and women. And so there's no dearth of uh, man-made products or non-leather based products in the market. I mean, just if people give it a thought, the idea of wearing a dead skin, somebody else's dead skin on my body, that doesn't suit well with me. So
I know, I understand. So are the kids coming?
yeah. So Avika, come. This is so I have three kids, three beautiful kids, three naughty beautiful kids. This is Avika.
Hello, Avika.
Like to introduce
So
yourself.
nice to see you. You're looking beautiful there. Uh-huh. I have a few questions for the kids too. Let them all come.
So Atharv is here as well, and I'll bring my.
Hello, hello, Atharv. Say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Hi. How old are you, Avika? Can you tell our audiences?
I am 9 years old.
9 years old. Okay. Atharv, how old are you?
I am 11 and go to Santa Jagarta.
You are 11 years old. Okay. Wonderful. We are going to wait for your brother to come. Ishan is coming. Okay, while they are coming, maybe I can ask you a couple of questions. So, Avika, I wanted to find out you've been eating only plant-based meals. So, what do you do when you go to other kids' birthday parties? What happens there? They have things, that are not vegetarian or vegan.
Usually my mom gets me vegan gluten-free pizzas and cupcakes for me and my brothers.
Okay, so do you take your food along to the party?
Yes, I carry my food with me.
Okay. And you don't feel odd about that?
Mhm.
Yeah. That's good. That's wonderful. That's what I do many times. Yes. Because I don't want to be dependent on anything else. I want to be self dependent. So I take my own stuff.
You know what? I have like a bunch of the most wonderful friends on earth. So there are so many times when my friends actually cook a special meal for our family. So they, before adding the paneer, they would, take out the bowl of the curry for us. Instead of doing a ghee tadka, they would do a vegetable oil tadka for our family.
Okay.
Sometimes they would cook vegan muffins at home. Sometimes they would do a veganized, like add rice milk to the kheer. So, and so if not, then sometimes they just buy stuff from the market. So I mean, we are pretty blessed in that matter to have chosen our friends carefully. And this is the youngest one. We
Hi.
just had him a little while ago. This is the so these two kids are the, and I'm jumping in between. I know you want to talk to the kids, but these two are the vegan pregnancies.
Wonderful. Wow.
This is, and this little guy is the home birth.
Right, right. Maybe we'll have you come back again one time and talk about your vegan pregnancy and your home birth. That's very, very out of this world, I would say.
Oh, there's still 2% of the people who are doing it. It's so.
But yeah, we don't hear about that usually. It's
Yeah.
very nice to see your healthy children. Wonderful. So I wanted to ask Atharv something. Um, Atharv, what can you tell other kids who want to become plant-based?
Okay. So usually I tell them facts like if you're vegan, you have a more healthy diet. And I tell them other important facts about being vegan. Um, Occasionally, I show them videos on like what they're eating and how they kill animals and how they shape it and everything. And
Oh,
I usually receive like uncontrolled human effects,
uh-huh.
which are like
ew or disgusting, or some like throw up facts.
Okay.
And yeah, I actually had an example where for a long period of time, this was um, when I was a second grader to third grader. I've
Okay.
one of my friend's father, um, who we call Mr. Tim, he would um, he was always he would always see me like bring my own snack for Christmas, birthday parties, and
Okay.
um, as if I'm the odd one out.
Uh-huh.
And so there was one time 2 years ago when when he asked, "Why are you vegan? What does it do to health?" And I had answered all of his questions. He had asked a lot,
Okay.
and um, he tried being vegan, and he successfully uh, did it
Did?
for over 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
He had enjoyed it a lot. He had noticed a lot of good things.
Okay.
He was a volunteer at our school, and he helped children run
Mm-hmm.
faster and help them like grow stronger. But being vegan made himself run faster than others,
Wow.
and he was like one of the school's fastest father.
Oh, wow. That's a wonderful story.
Yeah, and his wife, who is a middle school teacher, also was started to be interested in being vegan. I don't know if she was vegan yet,
Okay.
but like giving them facts, not showing off that, oh, I'm vegan, you're not.
Mm.
It's not like something which should go on for like a long time. If you're in it, if you're vegan and you're happy of it, then
Right.
it'll help others to be plant-based as well.
Wonderful. So even as a young child, you were able to influence somebody and change their thinking, and they they did it to see what happens, and they were successful. That's a wonderful story.
Thank you.
Thank you for your work, and thank you for sharing.
Natasha, what do you have?
So there are all sorts of plant-based milks, cheese, butter. This
Uh-huh.
is an oat milk,
Okay.
which I personally love. This is almond milk.
Okay.
This is almond milk, which used to be my favorite, but these milks are so much tastier. As my father agrees with me than the non-vegan ones.
Wonderful. Yes.
And this is the
Homemade.
homemade peanut dahi.
Peanut.
Dahi, yeah.
Dahi or curd, yogurt.
Yeah,
Yogurt.
you can call it yogurt. Yes.
Yogurt. Your mom made that with peanuts.
Homemade and vegan, yeah.
That's
You
so.
know, every time I make this and I post it on Facebook, like it's been like 10 times. They are like, can we get the recipe, please? Can we get the recipe, please? Every time I get recipes, requests for these curds, like, but especially the peanut curd, which is the easiest. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I have to get a recipe from you too, because I make my yogurt with soy milk. So I would like to try that one. So next time you need to share that with me.
Oh, of course. I mean, it's pretty easy. You just soak the nuts, grind them, and then add any starter, and then you're done. It's yogurt is ready.
The skin, or you take the skin off.
I don't. I mean, there's no need to take out the peanut skin, but people do it for the almonds sometimes. But if you're short of time, you don't have to do it, and it's so much cheaper than buying it from outside. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can go. Thank you so much. Yeah.
If I take one cup of peanuts and soak it in 1 cup of water.
Kind of, yes. Take 1 cup of peanuts in 1 cup of water. It depends on what kind of consistency do you want. You want a thick
Mm.
yogurt, or do you want thin, like for matha or stuff like that, buttermilk and all. So but you can add water at any point. Like you soak that overnight, 8 hours if possible. If not, just 4 hours is good in warm water if it's possible. And then the next day, so the shortest cut I found right now, what I used to do is I would used to grind them and then boil them,
Mm.
boil the peanuts. But now I found even a shorter cut, which is like before I grind them, I boil them. And so now it's not going to overflow out of the pan. So once they boil, I grind them, and then I add the starter and
Okay.
put it in a nice place, and then a nice warm place. And then, you've got thick, nice peanut curd or cashew
Wonderful.
curd.
I'm going to try that, and hopefully our viewers will try that too. Peanut curd, peanut yogurt.
Awesome.
So moving on, it was very nice meeting your children. They look
Oh,
very healthy on plant-based diet.
yeah.
So just a few questions are left. A few more questions are left. Um, many people are wondering about this kind of thing. I have been in these kinds of circles a lot where people are aspiring vegans, or they're vegetarians, or they're meat eaters, but they want to switch. Is this diet, plant-based diets, too radical, too expensive? Do you need fancy equipment to make the different dishes, different recipes? What do you have to say about that?
I would say, you cutting off your medication um, is probably your biggest wealth that you gain back after going on a vegan diet. And it's not I have a friend in India who's done research on the, I think, and he said it takes around 1/10 the cost of making a home-based milk, as compared to the dairy milk that they buy from outside. So it's not expensive, if you don't have to buy fancy stuff. You don't have to buy fancy yogurt or cheese or ice cream from outside. Just grind fruits, put them in ice cubes, and your ice sorbet is ready. It's pretty easy. Grind them with cashews, and then your ice cream is ready. It's probably not going to be, because it doesn't have the hundreds of ingredients which we cannot even read. It doesn't have those ingredients, so it's not going to be as soft and easy to whip out. But then it's the best ice cream you can get at a fraction of the cost. So go to your local Winco, stock your cart, stock your cart with all the veggies and fruits, and there you turn vegan today. Start with, and then the switch doesn't have to doesn't have to be made overnight. But then think about this: if not now, then when? If not us, then who? The first century Jewish philosopher, the words that he said are so applicable to us right now, who are, as I mentioned at the beginning of the program, we are at a time when we are at home and enjoying times with our families like never before. And what better time to experiment this new journey, this new path? Why not just give it a try for 2 months? Most people are going to live for like 70, 80, 90 years. Give it a try for 2 months. Go meal by meal, one meal at a time. Give it a try for 2 months. Go completely off dairy, go completely off eggs, and see what difference it makes. Then come back to your previous diet and see, and then you'll realize, oh, my knees don't hurt so much. Oh, I don't smell in my armpit so much. You'll realize on your own things that are, every single body is different. It's not going to help everybody in the same way. Oh, my skin glows. My husband used to say, your skin glows much more than it used to. I'm like, yeah, it's love.
Or my blood pressure is gone, or my cholesterol is down, or my headaches have gone away, my stomach issues are there no more, and so on and so forth. It's a miraculous way of eating your food. Um, in your opinion, it's not difficult to keep it going for a long time, or forever, right? Because you have been plant-based for the last 10 years.
And if I can do it, anybody can do
And
it.
it's
Trust
not
me.
too limiting either, right? You make new things all the time.
Of course, I mean, with dairy, we had just one option. It was dairy. It was a milk, and you add the same milk to all your dishes. You make curd out of the same milk. You add it to your chai or whatever. But now I have, like, as I said, 10 different types of milks, 10 different types of curds. The more I have diversified so much because of my vegan diet that I would not have otherwise. I have We have different kinds of smoothies every day. Instead of giving my kids milk, a daily glass of milk, which is so convenient, open the carton, pour a glass, and you're done. um, eh, we, you know, if we leave that convenience factor and we experiment with food, you know, try different lettuce, try different fruits, add some nuts, throw some seeds in there, chia seeds, pumpkin seeds, whatever is in your home, throw some coconut water in there, and you have a variety of different smoothies. In fact, my son was part of a smoothie making challenge. My son and daughter, they're part of an Art Excel program in Folsom, run by Nitisha Gilraj. She's an excellent volunteer, and Radhika from our Art of Living. And they, these small kids had actually participated in a smoothie challenge, and they came up with five different smoothies, one every day. And we have a whole recipe book online made
Okay.
by these kids. Right. So, you know, the kids of today or tomorrow, the new generation of tomorrow is definitely realizing the benefits of this diet. It's we, the Gen X, who have a hard time understanding, you know, why we need to go vegan.
Yeah, slowly but surely, you know, people's thinking is changing. Hope for the best. Um, All right, so you have shared a lot of your own experiences and have shown our viewers how easy it is. In fact, I myself, as you were sharing, you have so much variety. I'm also very excited every day about my food, what I'm going to, you know, make and things like that. And it's a new way of making things. Uh, I'm very excited these days for the last 5 years. Um, all right, so I think we are coming to a close of our this exciting interview, Heal with Hira, and we will be having hopefully a new guest every week, or I'll be just sharing some of my own experiences and experiments with you in different fields: music, yoga, spirituality. Um, healthful living and so on. um, what are your future goals now that your youngest is almost 2 years old, Deepti? What are
Right.
your plans? What are you thinking?
So when she turned one, I started working for a company called Harvesting, and it's a company based in India. So as you turn plant-based, you realize you expand your vision and your empathy to all the. So I realized that farmers are an important part of our food chain. There's a company called Harvesting working in India, which is actually connecting the farmers through technology, and it's doing a great job. Um, it has currently 2 million uh, kilos of produce listed on their website, which is approximately like 4.4 million pounds of produce, and 10% of that is being sold directly and indirectly. So I'm working for that company as a program manager, but I'm looking to go full time. I'm actively looking for a job in and around Sacramento, but we are open to relocation if there's a good position as a program manager or as a senior QA analyst. Right, right.
Good to know that you're exploring new ways uh, to expand your horizons. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Uh, so, before we end our session for today, I would like to know if you have any other things to share. Can you share your email address with the viewers?
Oh, definitely. So my sun sign is Aquarian, and so my email address is deep, like the first four letters of my first name, DEEP underscore Aquarian. So AQUARIAN at yahoo.com. Or they can find me at Facebook. They can search for Deepti.Sharan.Shukla. And they can also find me, they can connect to me through my Facebook group that I run. It's called Deep Holistics. I'm also on LinkedIn, Deep Shukla. So yeah, and then I'm also on the internet.
Share your blog with our viewers. Let's see, where is your blog? Hold on.
So yeah, this blog, I started this blog in 2007.
Okay.
Yeah, and whatever inspiration would come to me, I would start jotting it down. And when I turned vegan, and I thought I was answering those same questions over and over again, like I think over 100 times. I started writing blogs about my journey and common answers to those questions. And I would redirect people to my blog. It doesn't look fancy at all. I never revamped it after all these 13 years now.
Yeah,
But
I'm still looking for your blog. Hold on, give me a second.
so it's called Ninad Saptak. Ninad means goonj or echo. Saptak means 7 notes. So the 7 notes of echo. And my husband's blog is ninad.blogspot.com. So I took the inspiration from there and called it Ninad Saptak.
Okay, I found it. And now I'm going to share your my screen with the viewers. Still getting used to this technology.
But I'm so impressed by you. My mom doesn't even know how to go on Zoom.
So this is the world I live in. Where how do I share the screen? But that's the desktop.
So there's a share screen button at the bottom, the green
I
button.
see that, but how do I share my?
Yeah,
Can
I can see it now. I can see my blog.
All right, there is Deepti's blog. You can find lots of resources there. It's called Ninad Saptak, Ninad
Triple AD.
triple AD, NINAAAD Saptak, SAPTAK, Ninad Saptak. Log
Dot
into
blogspot, dot blogspot.com. It's at the top in the where it
yes.
says not secure in the address bar.
So log on to that if you need to find more resources on this plant-based lifestyle. If you need to contact me, my email address is academyraga@gmail.com, academyraga@gmail.com. So we are going to end this session right here. Thank you so much, Deepti Sharan Shukla, for agreeing to be our first guest on Heal with Heera and sharing all your experiences and your experiments with our viewers. I hope to see you again sometime. Maybe you can bring a dish, a cooking demo or something to share with us.
I would love to. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. I'm so passionate about this topic. It couldn't it couldn't be any better than talking to more people about this through this medium that you've created. Now, I wish you all the best for this program, and you're doing a great service to the humanity by bringing awareness. It's only through these programs that we can reach out to the masses, because the media is never going to portray the truth.
All right. Thank you so much again. And thank you everyone to our viewers. Namaste. And see you soon next week. Bye bye.
Namaste. Bye.